The tour bus driver found not guilty for a crash that killed 15 people tonight. Talking to Eyewitness News right after he returns to his home in Brooklyn. And we also talked to a juror in the case who tells us the prosecution just didn't prove its case. It's an Eyewitness News exclusive. Good evening, everyone. At 11 o'clock. I'm Bill Ritter.
And I'm Sade Bedarinwa. Tonight, Ophadell Williams is a free man. A jury found the tour bus driver not guilty of manslaughter and negligent homicide, to the shock of victims' families who had gathered in the courtroom.
NJ Burkett is at the courthouse in the Melrose section of the Bronx with our lead story. NJ?
And Bill, one of the jurors told Eyewitness News exclusively tonight that there simply was no evidence of a crime. And so the verdict here today: not guilty. The driver faced up to 15 years in state prison. Instead, he's a free man tonight. Mr. Williams, about the jury.
I just want to say thank you to the jury, and I'm very sorry for the loss of many lives that were lost. All right.
Ophadell Williams told us he will live with the grief for the rest of his life. He was behind the wheel in March of last year when a casino bus careened off I-95 and ripped apart, killing 15 people, nearly half the passengers on board.
How do you find the defendant, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Today, the jury rejected the prosecution's case, ruling that his conduct was not criminal. Survivors and relatives of the victims were stunned.
I'm very surprised, extremely surprised.
Prosecutors insisted that Williams was practically asleep at the time of the crash and had very little rest in the days leading up to it. But the jury was not convinced. The people failed to prove their point beyond any reasonable doubt, juror number 8 told us tonight. However, we do not wish to offend the families of these victims. In some way, they were looking to us to bring justice to the sad tragedy that has happened. Juror Nika Lee said proof of criminal conduct simply wasn't there. Had there been more solid evidence, then maybe the verdict would have been different. We do stand by our verdict, all of us, she said, with no doubt. End quote. The survivors expect a far different result in civil court. Greg Cerchione represents one of them.
He has his opportunity to present this case in a civil forum in the Supreme Court, and he'll have an opportunity to be heard in that case and for justice to have been done.
Now, tonight, the families credit the prosecution for putting on a strong case. Williams was convicted of a minor driver's license infraction and received a suspended sentence today. In the Bronx, Channel 7.
All right, NJ, thank you. New at 11, dramatic